Hi, welcome back to Daphne's lecture. This is a new lecture for science, technology, and society. On our recent lecture, I've been presenting to you about what is GMO, and for today, I'll be sharing with you another lesson, and this is the effects of GMO to insects and the effect of GMO to human health. All right, let's start. Based on the picture, you will see there that they are eating foods on the table with kids and with their mother. And this picture shows that what are the effects of GMO products or food to humans' health. Do GMOs harm health? Well, GMO are relatively new. Naturally, people wonder whether GMO plants and the foods that contain them are safe to eat. But the fact is that one of the facts is that GMOs have been very heavily studied, and there is no evidence that eating GMO harm humans. So again, there is no evidence that GMO or eating GMO products could harm human health. Then we have been eating GMO for more than 20 years, 2 decades, and no health issues related to genetically modified organism or GMO have arisen in this time. So there is no evidence that there are issues about eating GMO products for more than 20 years. Are there health benefits to eating GMO foods? Well, the answer is not today, but scientists are doing research to explore the possibility. Based or according to the National Academy for Science in the United States of America, they have concluded that GMOs are totally safe for human health. The same conclusion has been reached by a large number of prestigious health and science organizations from around the world. Now, let's watch this short video to better understand the effect of GMOs to human health.
Do GMOs affect your health? Well, years of research in the US and around the world shows GMO foods are just as safe to eat as non GMO foods. And any long term health effects from GMO foods are no different than those from non GMO foods. There are even GMO plants created with improved nutritional value, like a GMO soybean that produces healthier oil. Feed your mind with more GMO facts on FDA's website.
All right, that was a short lecture video about FDI website, and I thank you for that. Would like to acknowledge you for that video. All right, let's continue. In addition, over the 2 decades or more than 20 years, GMO have been on the market, and there have been no occurrences of health issues because of this genetically modified organism. So again, I would like to clarify and emphasize that there is no or there are no issues or no occurrences of health issues related to genetically modified organism and bioengineered products. As GMOs stand today, there are no health benefits to eating them over non-GMO foods. Just like the previous video that we just have watched seconds ago, it only means that currently GMO products prove that there's no health benefits yet of eating this GMO and over this non-GMO products. However, this may change in the future as technology develops and becomes more sophisticated. And now let's go over and proceed to the next one. How do GMOs affect insects? So let's discuss the effect of GMO to insects this time. Insecticides protect crops from pests, but chemical can kill the good bugs with the bad bugs. Certain GMO products or crops need less insecticides and only target specific insects. And for this GMO, this is a developed pest resistant plant can make a protein that is toxic only to certain insects like the bad bugs, not to other insects like animals or humans. And GM crops don't harm honeybees or monarch butterflies. On the contrary, they may reduce the need for insecticides that do harm them. And lastly, insects can develop resistance to GM crops just like they do to all other insecticides. So the thing is that bad bugs could be resistant to these GMO products or biotechnology crops or some DNA being inserted to that crops, so which make them GMO resistant bugs. So we'll have to discuss about that one later. And scientists were able to modify plants protein that is toxic to certain insects. Basically, they eat they eat it and their stomach ruptures. This protein is basically or specifically targeted towards certain pests that it doesn't affect other insects, animals, or humans that eat it. In fact, it is so specific that it doesn't even impact good bugs, just like the bees or the butterflies. So this GMO, the effect of this GMO to insects is that it ruptures the stomach of insects. Only those who are considered or labeled to be the bad bugs, but it does not totally affect the good bugs like the butterflies and the bees. Now, for us to further understand, let's watch this short video, the effects of this GMO products to insects or the bad bugs.
But what about plants that have been engineered to be toxic? For example, Bt crops. A gene borrowed from the bacterium Bacillus thuringiensis lets engineered plants produce a protein that destroys the digestive system of specific insect pests. The plant makes its own pesticide. Insects that eat it die. That sounds alarming. Pesticide sprays can be washed off, while the poison in Bt crops is inside the plant. But actually, it's not a big deal. Poison is really just a question of different perspectives. What's harmless to one species might kill another. Coffee, for example, is a poison that kills insects but is harmless to us. Or take chocolate. It's dangerous for dogs, but a pleasure for humans. Bt crops produce a protein that is tailored to the specific design of the digestive tract of certain insects. It's completely harmless for us. There's also the opposite approach. Plants that are engineered to be resistant to certain weed killers. This way, farmers can use them widely, killing the other plants competing for resources without harming the crop. Here we get to the dark underbelly of GMOs. For the pesticide industry, they are big business. Over 90% of all cash crops in the US are herbicide resistant, mostly to glyphosate. As a result, the use of glyphosate has increased greatly. That isn't only bad. Glyphosate is much less harmful to humans than many other herbicides. Still, this means farmers have a strong incentive to rely on this one method only, casting more balanced ways of managing weeds aside. That's one of the most fundamental problems with the GMO debate. Much of the criticism of this technology is actually criticism of modern agriculture and the business practice of the huge corporations that control our food supply. This criticism is not only valid, it's also important. We need to change agriculture to a more sustainable model. GMOs as a technology are actually an ally and not an enemy in that fight, helping to save and protect nature and minimize our impact on the environment. Let's look at some positive examples. Eggplant is an important crop in Bangladesh, but often whole harvests are destroyed by pests. Farmers had to rely heavily on pesticides. Not only was this very expensive, farmers also frequently got sick. The introduction of a new GM eggplant in 2013 stopped this. The same Bt protein we talked about before, an effective killer of insects but harmless to humans, was engineered into them. This reduced insecticide use on eggplants by more than 80%. The health of farmers improved and their income rose dramatically. And sometimes, a GM approach is the only option. In the 1990s, the papaya industry in Hawaii was under attack from the ring spot virus, which threatened to wipe out Hawaiian papaya. The solution was a papaya genetically modified to be vaccinated against the virus. Without it, the state's papaya industry would have collapsed.
Okay, so that was a short lecture video about the effect of GMO to insects. As you can see, it can rupture the stomach of an insect with this GMO products, but it does not prove or it does not prevent that it has bad effect to human health. However, insects that eat genetically modified crops can, and in some cases, start to develop a resistance to the protein that usually kills them. So basically, these kinds of bugs or insects are GMO resistant. How does this look like? Now, for us to know better, for us better understand this, let's watch this video.
For the most part, we humans don't like bugs. We're on a constant quest to kill them all, which manifests itself in many ways. One such way is genetically modifying seeds to make crops resistant to bugs so giant corporations can make obscene amounts of money. But now the bugs are fighting back. Here's the story. The wonderful companies of Monsanto, Dow Chemical, DuPont, and Syngenta make genetically modified Bt corn seeds. Plant geneticists make the seeds by inserting a gene from the Bt bacterium. The Bt bacteria make these tiny crystal-like proteins in every little corn kernel. Those crystals act like poison in the insects' stomachs, so when they eat the GMO corn, they die in a few days. Seeds modified with Bt bacteria DNA have been used for more than 30 years to help farmers increase crop output. But now, the seeds are no longer working, according to farmers in Brazil who've bought Bt corn seeds from those wonderful companies. They say the corn leafworm no longer dies after eating the genetically modified corn. The farmers have had to spray up to 3 coats of pesticides this year on the GMO corn crops, costing them a fortune. They're now asking the wonderful GMO seed companies to reimburse them for those costs, since their products didn't do what they promised to. The Brazilian government is now concerned, too, that these seed technologies have left the country vulnerable to pest outbreaks and dependent on toxic chemicals made by these wonderful companies. In response, the wonderful companies are saying they warned Brazilian farmers to plant part of the field with conventional seeds to prevent bugs from mutating and developing resistance to GMO seeds. The farmers say they did that as best as they could, but that it's really hard to even find seeds that haven't been screwed around with genetically anymore. They say if the wonderful companies don't reimburse them for the pesticide spraying, they may file lawsuits. So, the next time you're sitting down to a delicious meal of corn, and if you live in the US, that's pretty much every meal since corn's in everything, remember that not only is that corn probably genetically modified, but it's also now probably covered with pesticides. Honestly, when is humanity going to learn that we need to figure out how to coexist with a lot of the bugs we hate? The more we try to kill those bugs off, the more resistant they become to our lines of defense, and the stronger they end up becoming. Sooner or later, we're going to have to stop blindly chasing financial profits and learn that the more we fight the bugs, the more they're going to fight back. And since there's trillions more of them who can mutate pretty damn fast, they will win. Tonight, let's talk about that by following me on Twitter at The Resident.
All right, so that is a actually news about this concept or this topic that insects, some of the insects that usually eat GMO products, turn out to be GMO resistant, just like what you have seen in the news. And that's it for today. I hope you'll learn a lot about this lesson on the GMOs and the effects on human health and insects. And if you think this video is helpful with your course and subject, click like below or the notification bell so that you'll be notified for the upload next videos or more videos that I'll be soon uploading in my channel. And once again, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learn a lot and see you again. Bye for now and take care.